Welcome to part 20 of the What If Civilization Restarted series. Well, the first thing we have happen is the Brown Nation does an expansion. Well, they move in. Well, the Purple Nation occupies all their territory. And then they claim peace. And well, with this peace, they gotta keep all that land. Well, one of the nations, this nation, discovers a new area. They go north to find this nation. And then they land here and realize how cold it is. And they head south and realize this is new. And then they find the army of this nation. But they manage to overpower. They predicted there might be a nation, so they overwhelm it because there's not much. And quickly realize it's a nation they thought they had taken out. And then it surrenders over and they annex it fully. Well, the Purple Nation decides to expand into the Pink Nation in case they decide to come after them, because I hear that a group came after an area, the island to the north, that no one knew. Well, this nation decides to see, is there anything? And they find this purple country. Well, they kind of overwhelm the Purple Nation for a bit. They start moving in. And even further in for a bit, seeing this could be a big threat, they decide to launch a counterattack, which leads to them occupying something like that. And quickly, they've been kicked out. With them both, with these two nations knowing about that nation, so they ask this nation to come with some forces. Well, I'm going to give a different color. Like this color to show it's three nations. And well, their forces land somewhere in the northern area of their country. And well, the three forces manage to take this. While they also start taking lands down here. And this time it's overwhelming with defenses. As they manage to land on this island, well, the purple country manages to resist pretty well, with this area being forced to retreat, and they just moved to the northern front, with the forces of both nations not really advancing far, with some of their cities having been taken. Manage to launch another counter-offensive, but they also get pushed back on the water. So they decide to go into a peace treaty. They meet with them to have a fair peace treaty, because they're both equal in this treaty. So let's see the peace treaty. Well, one nation, the Yellow Nation, decides to continue their expansion, which leads to them expanding into the Green Nation. Them launching a war on the Green Nation. With this Green Nation eventually having to crumble to it. No, it's not great. With the Yellow Country seeing this Brown and Gold Nation as a threat, so they start moving in. And then this nation hears about their offensive, and they decide to launch an offensive. Take over some of these lands. And well, a failure to land on their islands is seen. Quickly, two puppets surrender to them. This puppet surrenders to the Yellow Country. Well, the Yellow Country quickly starts advancing into Korean Peninsula. As this nation starts advancing towards the northern part, as they're cut off from the Korean Peninsula from getting any more of it, the Yellow Nation moves in deeper. So let's see the peace treaty in Manchuria. And well, the Orange nations ask nations to join in. Well, only these nations are in favor of it, as it wants to expand. Well, that didn't work though. And this purple nation over here, not the same purple as that one, possibly, decides to try to find some land. And well, where do they end up? They end up occupying this. And they continue their advance. And so I'm going to give them a kind of reddish, pinkish color now. Oh, that color is the exact same. It's a good thing I'm changing the color of this nation. And this nation talking about an area with weaker nations. The purple nation over here, which owns these lands, decides to go down south. And when they test their luck, they manage to find a weaker nation. As they land over here. And they become the lord of this region, basically. So yeah, let's continue this advance. They occupy this area. They occupy it. And they occupy some more. Well, that's pretty good for them, I guess. And the yellow nation decides to advance against that green nation as they see a green nation attack them. How do they know it's a green nation? I don't know. And well, they land here believing it's the same empire. And they start advancing in. Well, they take it over. And they decide to stop there for a bit. With a few of the northern nations hearing about this and deciding to unite. And these nations deciding to create a northern confederacy. And they want to unify all of them. Which is pretty smart, I guess. But is it going to be strong enough? Because all the smaller, weaker nations. And well, nation becomes a green nation after hearing there's a yellow nation invading. And they decide to ask this nation to unify, which they say yes to. And the nation to the south, which also says yes to unification. And well, this nation, not this nation, that nation lands here and quickly takes a city. And then they land over here and quickly take a big chunk of the coast in this. And up there. And then the country decides to meet for a peace treaty. With them offering just 2 pieces of land. This piece over here. And well, this piece, which they agree to. As now they're taking the resources. Basically, the colonization of our timeline. With a rebellion happening. A Polish rebellion, and the Polish come on top. So they get it. Not Polish, no. With a rebellion, with a pink rebellion, not pink rebellion. I don't know why I said Poland. Which they get this, and then the rebellion in the yellow country gives them some land too. Well, it's hidden, so no one really will know. And well, since they rebelled, they get their own special color. Which I just had lined up for them, but I clicked the wrong button. Honestly, this color works for them. With the brown nation asking to join with those green nations, which they're agreed to. With a few nations here. With this nation starting to move in against this nation. Not really much is happening. They move up to about here. And then the Orange League decides to join in. The Orange Empire, I guess. Well, then this is what it looks like. This is, I guess, the Bohemia of our timeline. So I'm deciding to set it at the mountains. And then they end up setting it over here. It's probably at the mountains. And the Orange Nation directly annexes it. Following one of the and then one of the allies just gave some of the land. Just this nation. And this nation. But them not realizing the Orange Nation trying to annex them so they can go expand in other areas. Well, and then they annex this. And they annex that. Well, that's pretty much all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Wild Mapper out, but not until you subscribe. Bye, guys!